Hey everyone, so thanks for sticking through the kombucha video. Hopefully you did that. I was just tasting the different kombucha and Jun here. So this is part 2 of that series where I will show you how to make your Jun. The reason this one is kind of greenish, if you saw the first video, is because I added green goddess. It's like a green juice mix, so it's definitely green. As you can see there, added little pineapple chunks, I added a little ginger, so it's kind of a fun mix of all those things. Really easy to make as far as the time. You have to be patient, guys. Don't poke at it. Don't check it out every day. That's the one thing. It's just you don't want to like shake your bottle. You can come in here and look at your Jun, you know, just to see if your pellicle's forming, stuff like that. So this is kind of where I left off with you guys in the video. This is a not even 1 day yet, and it's already getting its little SCOBY on top. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested in Jun to see, you know, how that goes. I did have one little problem with it. It's my husband said he wanted it to be a little stronger tasting. So in the video, I think I went 3 days before I went to the second ferment. And so the next time he's like, just leave it for another day. So I left it 4 days and it started smelling like vomit. No lie. It smelled like straight up puke. Okay. I'm just going to put it out there like that. And I was like, oh, that's so gross. But I don't know. So I started looking things up and, you know, thank God the kombucha camp book about how to brew kombucha actually has that in there as far as an off smell. It says off smells or off odors. And one of them is like acetone and why it might smell like acetone, why it might smell like sulfur. And it said vomit there. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's read this. And definitely it says it's because there's too much yeast. Basically the yeast is taking over and the bacteria is kind of like getting a little weaker there. So I was like, oh, that's so funny, because by that time that I read it, in my mind, I was already going online and trying to figure out there's really not that much information on Jun because it's kind of a niche thing, I guess. And the only ones I did find were like about kombucha or about beer, right? Brewing, because a lot of it's kind of similar. And everyone's like, oh, it's fine. It doesn't, you know, it might be unpleasant. It's not going to hurt you. It's not whatever. It's fine. You can still drink it. So I had bottled, actually, this is the bottle, one of the bottles from that 4th day ferment. And today it tastes great. So a couple days ago it did taste like vomit. So I don't know. But it's basically a buildup of butyric acid, and that's the kind of acid that you have in your stomach. That's why it doesn't hurt you. It's not going to be a big deal, but that's why it smells so familiar. Like, oh my gosh, crazy. But, you know, the first batch I had made was just nice and just very light scent and the whole thing. So I was like, what is this? So when the next batch started smelling like vomit after 2 days, I was like, oh, this is crazy. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because it's important. I think somebody, you know, might have these questions. You might run into this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop it now because I already knew that these were kind of tasting better once I went to the second ferment. So I drained it out completely because I thought, you know, I'm just going to start over. I'm going to wash everything really well and just start over. And so I bottled them, and that's what's in here. And these are super fizzy. This is only a 2-day ferment in the bottle. And look at them. 2-day first ferment. Okay, and you'll learn more about that. And this one I'm going to put in a smaller bottle. But look at how fizzy they are, and they taste great. So it's just a scent. It'll break down. Don't be afraid. Or you can just throw it away and start over, right? So so that's what I did. I washed everything out. So that's why this is a little tiny bottle here. Because I said, you know what, I'm going to start over. And if it starts smelling like puke again, I'm just going to buy another SCOBY. Like something happened and it's not right. But in the meantime, I started finding out different things. And then finally, even in the kombucha book, the big book of kombucha, I went to another page about I don't know what it was. And it said there that if there's too much yeast, what you should do is X, Y, and Z, right? So I had already done a few of those things. Completely washed out the vessel, really strained it when I went to put it in the bottles, strained everything out of here so that the starter liquid was really only liquid and not like a lot of yeast strands and all that. And I started over and it smells great. So fingers crossed, I think I did everything right. It's not that your SCOBY went bad, it's just the yeast needs to clear out. So, you know, whenever you go to bottle your stuff, if you're just going to put the new liquid back in here to start up the next batch, really give it a good mix and get all that yeast strand, you know, separated out into the rest of your bottles. That way it's not a lot of sediment down at the bottom here. Okay, so that's just a note in case. Don't freak out. Like I said, you can still bottle it. The first, a couple of them I made like lemon and then like lemon ginger, and because it was already tart, because it was already sour with that vomit smell, like from the acid, because it's literally acid. And then the lemon, it was just too much. I was like, oh, I couldn't even stand it. So I poured those out. But like this one came from that same batch and it's awesome. So you just kind of have to work with it. And if you're not comfortable with something, if it smells not right, throw it away. Okay, the vomit one, the only reason I was like, okay, is because it seems like everybody has had that experience with, you know, other types of brewing and stuff, and it's not the biggest deal. It's naturally occurring in your body anyway. So just a note, don't get scared. Please watch the video. I promise you everything came out great. It was wonderful, fizzy, and delicious. And we'll go from there, okay? So let's get started with this second part about Jun. Okay, guys, so today we're going to start with our Jun. Some people say June, but it's Jun, I guess, J-U-N. And I understand that means bee, so that's pretty much why I guess we got the honey going. But what you're going to need is, first and foremost, a SCOBY, right, or a starter SCOBY. For Jun, it's not as easy to come by as I just showed you how to make your kombucha from scratch, right, your kombucha SCOBY. So I went ahead and ordered one from Amazon. I did not go with fermentation or Fermentaholics because it's the same price as this other Ziggy's gal, but the reviews weren't as great, and you know, it's a bigger company, I would say, and this girl, everybody is like, this thing works, it's great. A nice size SCOBY she sends you, and really nice. So yeah, from when I ordered, I got it within like 3 days, and I just made sure that the day it was going to be delivered, I went to my mailbox so it wasn't just sitting in there toasting, even though we're in like 60, 70 degree weather. I guess mostly 70s. So when I opened it up, it was in 2 different packages, plus, you know, the SCOBY itself. Some people say you can train a kombucha SCOBY, I don't know, maybe like a young one to eat the honey and stuff, but I wouldn't mess with that, especially since we don't really know what we're kind of dealing with, you know, so it's better to just pick one up that's already been trained on organic honey. So I have the Jun SCOBY here. It says healthy and well developed with 2 cups of strong starter tea, okay? And look how cute her packaging, it's in a thing, and I don't know if you can see the SCOBY in there. It looks beautiful, nice and clean and gorgeous. And I got this 2 days ago. I've been dying to get this done, but like I said, the flooring people are here, and you know, today's Easter. Actually, I'm waiting for the kids to wake up, so a lot going on. And then in her instructions, basically she's teaching you to make 1 gallon. You can start off with half a gallon, you know. Normally, like I said, you want your starter to kind of grow a little bit. So I don't know, I guess you could jump in right into 2 gallons, but I'm going to do 1 gallon. So I'm just going to follow along. She has a little brochure here of other things she sells, like seeds and I'm not sure exactly what, but she has all her stuff there. I'll have the link to this, not that it does anything for me, just so that you guys know the exact one I got. It says to make 5 16-ounce bottles, you need 13 cups of filtered water, 1 gallon jar, right? The SCOBY, 8 green tea bags or 8 teaspoons loose tea, and a cup of honey, okay? So we're going to boil some of the water. So she boils half the water and then puts in half cold water and all that. So I'm probably going to boil less than that because, like I said, I don't have a full kitchen right now. I have a little tiny kettle, so I'm going to heat that up, but I'll talk about that in a minute. You want a breathable closure, such as a cloth or paper towel. Paper towel is not the best thing for that, and a rubber band, right, or something to hold that. So I took the lid off my jar. I have a jar here I got from Walmart very recently. It's just an Anchor Hawking made in US jar, so it's pretty much lead free. It's food safe, and this is the lid, which we're not going to use. But if you're going to make like maybe pickles or something, you would definitely put that loose cap on there. I didn't have a ladle, so I went and bought a ladle real quick. This is just like a plastic, almost feels like a melamine, but this is just to help me blend in my honey. I don't need to do anything with it right now as far as pouring, because we're going to ferment the tea. And this tea is usually ready, well, the Jun, in about 6 days is what I hear. Most people, like, you ferment it 3 or 4 days, and then you do your second fermentation in another 2 or 3 days. So, you know, somewhere in there. So it'll be really interesting, especially because I don't know what flavor I'm looking for at the beginning, right, when I taste it. But I'm going to probably stop it around 3 or 4 days and then go ahead and bottle it and see what happens. I am using this Organics green tea because it's just generic saying green organic tea. It was on sale at my local Albertsons, so I grabbed that, and it has 40 tea bags. So we are going to need 8 of these. So just green tea and just honey. So this honey, you want to use a raw honey. Some say, you know, if it's lightly pasteurized, that's fine too, or even pasteurized honey is okay. But, you know, if you want the benefits of what honey does for you, and if it's your local honey, then that's great. So you want something like this. Some say filtered or unfiltered, you know, specifically saying that. This one says unfiltered here, but if you really look at it, it's really nice and clear. I mean, not a lot going on here, so I don't mind that. So as far as that, you might want to do more research. I don't know if unfiltered or filtered is better, just so it has less impurities filtered, but that's okay. And like I said, so I wash these, I sanitize them, and since I don't have like a measuring cup or anything right now, I'm going to be using this Ball Wide Mouth half gallon to help me out with the cups. And I'm going to use that to measure. So basically my boiling water, my tea, how much honey, I'm going to use the measures that are on here. So it's not super accurate, I think, because I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. But it'll be pretty darn close, right? Just like with kombucha, you can use 4 tea bags, 5 tea bags, or whatever. Like, you know, those kind of things you kind of play with. But with this one, obviously it's going to be enough honey, and it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is boil probably about 5 cups of water. And then I'm going to steep my tea in that, the 8 packs of tea. And we'll go from there. So basically that's all you're going to need. You're going to need, again, the 13 cups of water. You're going to use 1 cup of the honey, 8 green tea bags. And this, the reason it's 13 cups plus the 1 cup, that's 14 cups. And then this has 2 cups of your star liquid. So that makes your 16 cups, you know, your full gallon. So let's say later you're going to start up another batch and you're only using 1 cup of your starter, which I normally would probably use 2. You have to think about it accordingly, right? So if you only use 1 cup, you're going to need 14 cups of water, 1 cup of your honey, and 1 cup of your starter liquid if you're going to move forward doing it that way. Every time you make a Jun or a kombucha, you're going to get another SCOBY started. Now it could be a thick one because it's just made it, or it could be really small little baby SCOBY that's just going to kind of be around there, and you can keep using both of them in the next batch. You throw them both in, and then you're going to still make a third SCOBY, or maybe that little one is going to get thicker. And then you can start dividing them. You can start just throwing them away if that's what you need, because you don't need that many. You can start a SCOBY hotel. You can look up all that. But let's get started. I'm going to get that water boiling, and I'll be right back. While I'm waiting for my water to boil, again, you're going to need something to mix your ingredients with. You're going to need a gallon or 2 gallon jug or whatever size you want. Again, this is a newer SCOBY. We don't want to overwhelm it with just make me 5 gallons, so 1 or 2 gallons is good. This is just for me to measure with, and I'm going to steep the tea in here, but I can just put the water in here too and steep the tea in there. It doesn't matter, but I'll steep it in here. You need your raw honey, you need green tea, and then again to cover your vessel, whatever you're using. I bought some kitchen cloths that are really cute from Amazon because I like that they look like the weave wasn't too tight, and I think this will be great. So let me open this up over here. I'll have a link to these too if you want, just because they're inexpensive and they're pretty, and they have them in different colors. But and it was nice and wrapped up, really cute. I guess if you wanted to gift it, but I don't know if you can see, it has a nice weave, but still very breathable and plenty of room to go over my jar. So I'm gonna use that. And then I just have rubber bands, but some people like to use hair bands, like for your head, those big old huge bands. Where are my rubber bands? And so we can do that. I'll probably just use 2 rubber bands just to make sure one doesn't fail, because you don't want that to happen. These are just cheap 60-cent bag of rubber bands from Walmart. And yeah, that's it. Oh, let me show you. Well, actually, I already did that. So I was going to show you my SCOBY, because I'm kind of overlapping these things for my kombucha, and she's looking really good over here. But anyway, you probably already saw it in the video. Okay, so just to make sure we have all those items, everything's nice and clean, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I have my water boiled. Again, it is filtered water. I'm using store-bought water, even though I don't like doing that, because again, I don't have a kitchen. I have the tiniest sink in my bathroom now. I can't really get that. It would just take a while. Also, I haven't done all the research on the water here since I've moved here a couple months ago. But I do know it has a lot of stuff in it. So again, no fluoride, no chlorine. You don't want those kind of things. Some of those things you can remediate by boiling the water longer. But just check out your local water, or again, filter your water however you need to do it. I have the 8 green tea bags, and what I do for this is I put it in here. I did this last time too when I made my kombucha, because it just makes it easier. And then just put the screw lid, just the circle there, not the rim, but not the whole thing. And it's still open on top. And I'm just going to pour in my water, which I had let sit for just a little bit because it was super boiling hot. It's hot water, obviously. And tea usually steeps at a kind of a little bit lower. So either use a tea kettle that only goes to a certain heat, but if not, this is good. And like I said, I'm just going to put as much water in here as actually will go up to the tea bags. And I probably should have poured the water first and then the tea, so I know exactly that I have 5 cups or however much. But like I said, it's not like it has to be exact. So I'm going to 5 cups. And I thought I had 4 to 5 cups in here. That's interesting, because this little kettle I told you, it does about 4 or 5 cups. So pretty cool. Okay. And I'm gonna let this sit. Now, in the instructions, she says let it sit for 5 minutes. Most of the time people let it sit for 20 minutes. So I'm gonna do 15, kind of splitting the difference, but going a little deeper, right? So I'm just gonna let this sit 15 minutes to steep. And then when we come back, we're just gonna put it together and start our waiting clock. Okay guys, so what I do next is gonna be kind of weird because you just want to get 13 cups of the filtered water into your receptacle, right? I just put this on top just in case because since I've been doing the flooring and all these different things and the drywall, like these and the windows, these people leave all the windows open, so like, or the doors open, should I say? So I just don't want little flies having been in here or fruit flies and get in here, so I just covered it, but you don't have to do that. So what I'm gonna do is take this ring off, grab all the tea bags, and squeeze the excess out. If it's too hot, just use a spoon, but I'm just going to use my hands that are washed. Again, people say don't use antibacterial washes because you're going to kill the bacteria that's in your SCOBY that you want to keep. So let's just squeeze all that out. And I guess it didn't really matter if I was at 5 cups or not because we're going to top this off anyway. So this is like boiling hot water still, which is funny because it's been sitting there. Of course, your cup of tea gets cold, right? But this thing takes forever to cool off. So here's another part where I kind of have to fudge the numbers. So it marks 6, it marks 7, doesn't mark 8, but 8 is basically up here, right? So I'm just gonna eyeball that. I'm adding just the cold water there. And another thing is you don't want to just add your honey to straight boiling hot water or the hot water, right? So if you were doing this at home and you have a bigger receptacle or you can actually measure things, I would melt my honey into the warm liquid. Like right now it's still really hot. And that way it makes it easier. But I'm going to put it in cold water because that's what I have and that's the only way I can do it and still measure this out. So I have my gallon here. I'm going to take this that's still pretty hot. And that was 8 cups. That was so pretty when you pour it, like the color changes, like the way you see it through the light. Anyway, so I have 8 cups of water and we needed 13, right? So I'm going to do 5 more. I could probably just pour this into that water and the water will still be warm, but I need to measure my honey and I don't want to measure the honey in this huge receptacle and have to pour it out and I know it's going to be all stuck at the bottom, you know, it's going to be a pain. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my honey into this room temperature water that just got a little bit warmer actually because of the jar, but let's pop this honey open. Oh my goodness. Oh man, maybe I should have done this first because now it's impossible. Let me try to open this, I'll be right back. Funny. So I had to hit it all around areas with a knife. Have you ever done that? Like it with a butter knife? So it just, I don't know what that does, but it helps out because I tried several times. So now I'm going to eyeball this to 6, right? Because we have the 5 cups of water, so plus the 8, that's 13 cups of the water. And I'm just going to, watch this as it goes to the 6. Such pretty honey. I'll stop there just so I don't go over. I guess that is not a big deal, but this is good. Whoopsie. I'll have to deal with this later. It's going to be a sticky, sticky little mess. Okay. Oh, that's some good honey. Okay. Does it even fit in here? I was going to say, you know what? Let me go get a different implement. So I'm just going to mix this and mix this until the honey melts into my water. Okay, guys. I think that's pretty good. Ooh, I didn't want to hear that sound for you guys, but yeah, we're good to go. And the water is nice and warm. You can use steel or metal in with your kombucha items. You just, you know, don't want it to be something that's going to get corrosive, and if you're just using it for a little bit, that's not the biggest deal. So I'm going to take this and pour it in here because my tea water is nice and warm. It's not boiling hot anymore. And I'm probably going to take some of that and put it back in here and get all this honey out of it and pour it in there, and I'll be right back. So basically we have our 13 cups of water and our 1 cup of honey in this jar, and all we're going to do is add in our SCOBY with its starter liquid and we're good to go. Okay guys, I'm just going to give that a thorough mixing just to make sure that that honey is nice and dissolved all throughout our jar. Okay, and here's the fun part, or icky part, however you want to see it. We're going to take our SCOBY here, and I'm going to cut it over the jar so that way I don't lose any of the liquid. And what's good is that she didn't pack it completely full, so it's not like as soon as I open it, it's going to squirt out, right? But it's in there. It's so cute. So maybe I don't have to cut it over. Now that I see that there is some space in here, I'm just going to cut most of it and still hold on to this. Of course, if you had it in a bowl or something else, you can do that. So that starter liquid is already your tea that had started, and there goes that little guy. Just slid right in there. It smells really good. It smells fermenty, but not like bad fermenty. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. And that is it. So if there's anything splashed out or whatever else, you want to just clean it up all around there so you don't want to attract more bugs or anything. And that's it. So the whole point, well, not the whole point, the best thing that you can do for your little Jun or for your kombucha is to cover it and not touch it again. So I'm going to cover her. I'm going to push her to the corner where I need her to be. Actually, let's, so I can show you. Oh, I picked up these at Hobby Lobby just recently because I have a feeling I'm going to move into a bigger one. So this is a 2-gallon guy. They were 40 bucks. They were half price the other day. So I'm going to switch out the spigot, which I already ordered from, what's that called? Amazon. Because these plastic ones, people say they're just horrible. They'll start leaking. It's not the best. But you could still use it. So it's not a big deal. If that's what you have, go ahead. I know they had this one also. This is a gallon one. So I ordered a 2-pack of spigots for 18 bucks. So I'm going to move this little lady over here. And if you're, like, if this was still too hot or too warm, wait until it's at room temperature before you drop your SCOBY in, okay? So mine was pretty good. I can feel it right now still. It's just warm. So there it is. And I'm going to cover this up. And again, they like to be unbothered. I'm going to leave this open just so I can kind of see in here a little bit. But obviously if you want to look at it, you just lift up the little flap there and check it out. But don't come in and like move it around a lot. Some people say once you move it, or if you move it, it dislodges the SCOBY. It stops growing and then it'll have to like start up again, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, I don't know if there's what the science behind that is, or, you know, all I know is I'm going to do what successful people do at this, so I don't want to bother it. And I'm going to use one of the larger rubber bands, and like I said, I normally put 2, so I'll probably come back in and put another one, just because these are cheap rubber bands, and just kind of pull this tight, so that nothing can like crawl in those spaces. Put her over here, and I'm just going to leave her alone. So when we come back, guys, I'll kind of follow up with you, I guess, a little bit of how it's doing, but just like I did with the kombucha. But this should only take 3 or 4 days, so very quick. So I'll leave her alone, turn off the light, and say goodnight. Of course, I'm doing laundry and stuff, but I did realize I didn't tell you guys the SCOBY is down here. It just fell down, which is fine. Obviously, it's a little tiny, well, smaller than this diameter, so that's not a problem. It's already fizzy on top, and it's going to do its thing. So I'm just going to turn the light off and, like I said, say goodnight to her and just not bother her for at least 3 days. I'll leave it alone, but I will check in with you guys just to kind of show you the progress. You guys, this is the same day. I'm just following up because I want to show you. Obviously, it's very dark in this room when the light's off, but I did put a thermometer strip. You don't need this, and to be honest, it's not like I'm going to do anything different just because the thermometer says one thing or another, so it's just there, so it kind of lets me know that it's between 71 and 75, and that's okay for Jun. But look at that SCOBY. Do you see that? When I showed it to you, it was nice and perfect, and now it's getting all kinds of strands coming off of it, and there's like a pile of stuff underneath it. There's like a little chunk developing right there. Can you kind of see that? Coming off, and that's just basically, I would assume, the yeast. Those yeast strands, and the yeast coming up and starting to eat up that sugar, you know, the honey. And so I guess that's why people say Jun develops faster, because there's no reason for that. And it already even has bubbles at the very top, like the kombucha got after a few days. So I'm assuming the top is going to start getting sealed. But like I said, the yeast does its thing, then the bacteria kind of does its thing, so that maybe some SCOBY will be forming on the top maybe tomorrow. I don't know. just want to show you that that is really fast. I mean, this is just, well, I started really early this morning and it's like 5 o'clock, so, you know, almost a work day. So they're putting in work. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, guys, so it hasn't been 24 hours yet, because well, no, I guess it has almost. I did work on this in the morning, so I'm just going to show you. It's really kind of a glossy look at the very top. I don't know how to explain it, and I barely moved it just so I can kind of see if something's going on, because it's basically made like a, see, I don't know if you can see the way it jiggles like jello on the top. So hopefully it's already making its little new SCOBY that's going to seal that top. And then this guy down here is just still looking crazy with like little stuff brushing coming off of it. I hope it's okay. Like I said, the water was a little bit warm still when I put it in. Not enough to kill it, but still warmer than I would like. I forgot to really let it cool down. I was like, oh, this is good. I stuck my finger in there, but when I put this label on it, it was past 90. So, ooh. But I hope it looks like it's doing something, so I think we're okay. Just want to see those little tendrils down at the bottom there. This thing is so much fun. I just want to show you guys. It's been about 30 some odd hours. And I don't know if you can see how it's like lifting that whole area. There's like a mountain coming off of the SCOBY. Isn't that weird? And then bubbles are coming off that because of those yeast strands. This thing develops so fast. Wow. Look at that. It's pretty cool. Okay guys, about 48 hours on our Jun. Let's take a look. This thing has been acting crazy. So let's see, I haven't even looked at it myself. It looks like, oh, it's starting to rise up. So what they say is that normally it ends up at the top at some point. So you can see it's like standing up. You know, the SCOBY's kind of round and flat, and now it's standing up this way. Really interesting. Oh, there's lots of little particles up on top. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, right there, you can see that better. Wow, this thing is crazy. So I did want to mention, how it says starting to make a new SCOBY. It is making a new SCOBY right on top, right? It's like a little thickness, like a little surface tension. But since Jun processes so quickly, you know, maybe 4 days, I'm going to start the second ferment, or, you know, checking it out 3 or 4 days. It doesn't have time to make a thick SCOBY, so this will start moving up, and then your SCOBY's going to start looking crazy because they're going to be kind of together, or when you take it out, you know, or I'm basically going to take the liquid out of here and leave the SCOBY in here with a little bit of starter liquid, so I'm not going to mess with it, I'm not going to touch it, I'm not going to bring it out. But that's why the Jun SCOBYs look a little bit different, they look kind of gnarly. Now if you want to make another SCOBY because you want to give one away or something, then what you do is just let it ferment for like 10 days, 2 weeks. Just like kombucha takes a little bit longer. That's why you get a nice thick SCOBY. When you do the next batch, it always gives you a new SCOBY. So pretty cool. Looking great. I will come back tomorrow. Guys, I just want to show you how funny this thing looks right now. It's been just over 48 hours, right? We're still on the second day, but in the afternoon, and earlier I showed you the morning, but look at this thing. It started coming up the side, it was hiding in the back, and it looked kind of funky, and I don't know what happened in the last literally 30 minutes. It came around the side, and now it's heading towards the top, most of it. And it has these things kind of turning, like, just hanging down. And I can see at the top of the water, it's really kind of gelatinous looking, like there's definitely some pellicle or some formation there. Obviously, like I said, the stuff seals itself off from the air, you know, but really fast reactions and interactions here between all the sugar and the tea and the SCOBY starter pellicle. Look at that. So cool. Okay guys, we are going on 3 full days of the Jun fermentation, so about 72 hours. And I noticed yesterday as it was creeping up, it went right to the top. I don't know if you can see the SCOBY or the pellicle up there. There's some little droplets and big long strands hanging down and lots of stuff at the bottom, and it smells really good. It doesn't really smell fermented though, it just smells, well, a little bit, but it just smells good. So I don't know, I'm not really ready to bottle it today, so I'm gonna taste it tomorrow. Give it 4 days. Some people say, you know, it takes this many days, that many days. Some people say 3 days, some say, you know, 5 or 6. So I'll taste it tomorrow. As you can see, the temperature is at 71. Which is kind of nice because I don't have the AC on or anything. That's just the ambient overnight temperature because this is like super early in the morning, so you think it'd be cooler, especially being April here. But Really cool. This thing has been doing so much fun. Just watching it has been really fun. So let's leave it for one more day and we will test it out tomorrow. Guys, this is the same that third day on the Jun. I just want to show you. People say you can flash a light in there and it's not going to bother anybody, but it is really building up, even from when I showed it to you guys earlier today. I don't know. I know it looks bad right here. It's just a dark color coming off of this paper towels over here, so it's not just white. But look at all that stuff hanging off the top that wasn't there earlier today. And down here looking like Mars. And then if I really shine a light, can you see all those bubbles moving up, 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 up? I'll leave it here for a second so you can kind of... I see them, so hopefully you can see them. That's crazy. I didn't see that from my other kombucha. Well, actually, I didn't shine a light into my kombucha either. So, this thing looks like Mars or something. Especially at the bottom. You have a rover on there. Look at that. Anyway. So, yeah, I will definitely bottle this tomorrow. Flavor it and bottle it for the second fermentation. I probably should do it today, but... Eesh. We'll see what happens. I might change my mind. I might do it later tonight, but we'll see. Okay, guys, you know how I was debating going 3 or 4 days? I saw another video today where this lady was talking about 3 days, and you don't want to get too vinegary, especially with Jun, so now I'm getting scared. So I'm going to go ahead and taste it. My husband's here to taste it too, so we will see. I have the tea ready to steep if I need to, because when we take this out, we need to add more tea, right? So I don't want to move it. Oh, I do also want to show it to you guys, because it's ugly. Let me get this closer. I'm not going to take the SCOBY out of this pot or vessel, so whoopsie. I do want to show it to you because it's funky looking. I don't know if you really got a good look at it when I got it. It was super clear and beautiful and just like pale looking, and now it has all this spent yeast and all these other things around it, so it's kind of crazy looking. It's at the top. There's a little bit of thickness, but we're just going to leave it there. I will give this a stir before we go to use it. And I have a bunch of fruits and things, so I think I'm going to do blackberries and I'm going to do a ginger one. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to get past... Okay, good. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shake. Oh, see, there's a fruit fly right there. Oh, no. Mm-mm. Get out of here. Oh, no. Where is it?
It's over here, dude.
I don't want it to get in here. I'm going to cover this. I saw that fruit fly earlier and I was like, mm-mm. Okay. We have some here. It's super fizzy. I don't know if you're able to see that. I'm having my husband taste a little bit. Oh, you tasted all of it. Do you think that's right? Probably. It's a little bit sweet still. Tastes like honey. Not tart enough yet?
It's not tart at all.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till the morning then.
It tastes like green tea.
It is green tea.
With honey.
I'm still fighting this little fly. Okay, then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and steep my tea. Because I already did it, and then I'm going to let it not sit overnight, I'm going to steep it for the 15-20 minutes, and then I will do this in the morning, because it is not quite sour, but it's just kind of, it's not sweet, it just doesn't have enough pungency, I guess. So, but I'll go ahead and make the tea, that way we're ready with that, and it's not going to hurt anything if I go ahead and brew that tonight. So I will be back in the morning. Okay, after debating back and forth if I'm going to make it tonight or tomorrow, I think we're going to go ahead and bottle it up. So I have 2 half-gallon ball jars here because I haven't washed my bottles, that I would put them in individual bottles, and as you guys know, my kitchen's destroyed. They actually brought the counters in today, so that's great. But so in here I just have some ginger pieces, just sliced ginger, and I didn't put too much because I don't know how much is gonna like suck into the flavor of the Jun there. And this is about a ½ cup of blackberries, and they're pretty much whole. I guess you can mash them maybe a little bit, and I might do that, give them a little squish. Well, we'll see. Maybe I won't. So I'm gonna bring my bottle over it. Now I had bought these lids for these jars and they're only a couple bucks at Walmart, and I'm gonna use them for today just to cap them for 1 day. We're gonna leave this a day, maybe a day and a half, and then we're gonna put it into individual bottles and strain it. And you don't have to do that, but it's just another step in the fermentation if you want to do a little bit longer. And then, to, like I said, just quickly flavor 2 things and then separate them out later. I have my tea steeping here. Again, we're going to do the 8 green tea bags just like at the beginning with a cup of honey. And then we're going to get that into the original vessel. Leaving the SCOBY in there, leaving at least 2 cups of the liquid that's already in there, right, as starter. So we're probably going to add 13 cups of just water. Do you understand? So basically 13 cups of brewed tea with the 8 tea bags and the 1 cup of honey should make it about the 16 cups, something like that. I'm gonna keep this to the side though because it's still brewing, and like I said, I saw a little fruit fly in here, so I have this covered too. Not that they want to get in tea, I doubt it. But I'm gonna take this off. That's just an extra towel I threw on top after a few days. I'm gonna move this, and we already saw how that SCOBY looked super crazy. The color of the tea is lighter. It's not much lighter, and I do want to show you now that I've interrupted the SCOBY. Well, that's my hand writing, but it was starting to form a little thin SCOBY right on top, or a pellicle. I don't know if you can see that. So now it's pulled away because I just messed with it, right? But that's kind of what was trapping all the bubbles I saw just kind of going off in there. But anyway, so what we're gonna do, I'm sorry, my kids are up and it's kind of late, but it's kind of late, it's 9 o'clock. Late for me. Is kind of push this guy to the side. I'm using a clean ladle here. I want to get past him, and you can take it out like I said, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to swirl this around, get all that stuff at the bottom into our stuff here. I know I didn't want to mess with my SCOBY that much, but oh well. And look at all that fizz. And so all I'm going to do is just ladle this in to this. I do have a funnel. I should have brought it out and I didn't, so I'm just going to do this, and if I make a mess, I'm going to get rid of it. Oh wow, it's really fizzing. Okay, so I'm going to keep ladling this over, guys, until I get it up to about 7 cups, because I'll put 7 in this one, 7 in this one, and that's 14 cups. I should leave about 2 cups left in here, okay? And I'll be back. Okay, guys, so like I said, I have about 7 cups in each one of these, and that way there's about 2 cups of starter liquid left in here with the SCOBY, and the new little piece of SCOBY that was building is just stuck right on there. It's just on there, didn't move. It's not like I broke pieces of it off and went somewhere else. I do want to mention that the blueberry or blackberry Jun is just fizzing like crazy. There's like bubbles all over it. Looks really good. The ginger one, not so much, so we'll see what happens there, but I'm sure it'll be tasty. If I wanted to, I could add a little more honey in there, but I'm just gonna leave it alone because I feel weird to add more of anything to it. Some people would put a raisin in there, things like that. Something, and maybe if I find some raisins, maybe I'll put 1 or 2 raisins, maybe 3 in there because it's a couple servings in there. But for now, my tea has steeped for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to take the bags out. And I was just surprised how active that thing was when it, you know, as soon as I got it, it was doing all kinds of fun things the first few days. Well, every day it was really fun. Today it's been about 3.5 days, I guess, since I made it. Just trying to get all the liquid out of these. And so I'm going to add a little bit of water to this because it's really hot. We don't want to burn our honey, but at the same time, I also want to cool this down, so we don't want it too cold because then it'll just take a while to get that honey in there. The color isn't super different. That's why I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking for in this Jun yet, you know? And the kombucha, I know what it tastes like. I know kind of what I would like. This is quite a bit different. So I'm going to bring this up to 7 cups. And I think that's, yeah, that's not like scalding hot, so that's good. And I went into the dollar store and I bought some measuring cups, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and measure a cup of honey. I'm going to put it, obviously measure it out, and then I'm just going to put it right in here and just mix it until it's well dissolved, okay? So I'm not going to bore you with that, but basically 1 cup of honey. Get that going, get that in there, mix it all up, and then when this is, you know, a nice lukewarm or colder than that temperature, I will get it in here. Again, I'm just going to top it off with enough water to basically get it back to the level that it was at, which would be a full gallon of liquid, right? So I just want to be clear. I already steeped the 8 green tea bags in here. I boiled, you know, just a little bit of water just so it cools off faster. I'm going to add the 1 cup of honey, dissolve it in here, get that in there, and then top it off with enough water to make a gallon. And I'm just going to cover it with a new towel. Well, I could probably use the same rubber bands, and put it back in the corner there and leave it alone. And I'll be back tomorrow once this has been sitting for 24 hours. The items that we just bottled and flavored. And then we'll get them into smaller bottles, okay? And I'll come back and follow up with you guys as far as what this is looking like at that point. Okay, guys, so this is 24 hours later, and since I did this at night, when I was kind of like going back and forth with the Jun, if I wanted to go ahead and do the second ferment or not, so it's been a day later. It's about 8 or 9, 8:30ish, 9 o'clock at night. I want to show you, we're going to move on. So I have a funnel so we can bottle the big bottles. Remember how I just split it into 2 half-gallon jars. So I have a little funnel. This funnel came in a set of, it says beautiful Italian style swing top bottles, basically. And it came with a bunch of gaskets too to go with it. So I'm not going to use those today because, like I said, I didn't have time to clean them or wash them and do all that kind of stuff. And I kind of want to start off with like the free stuff, and then we'll see what happens as I move on. And so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a bit of a strainer because I'm going to go ahead and strain it, even though it doesn't bother me if I had just put ginger in these bottles and let it sit in there. But whatever, I'm just going to strain it out just in case. My husband's like, he'd rather have the stuff strained. I have my bottle caps to go along with all these Kavita or kombucha bottles. And what's cool about these is that this label is like plastic. You can peel it off real easy. I just don't want to do that right now because it's just going to take more time. But I have 5, 6, 7 bottles maybe ready to go. I washed them real well with soap and water, and then I got some boiling hot water and poured it in there and kind of rolled it around because I don't have a big thing to sterilize them that way right now. And you don't even have to sterilize them that way, just so you know, just as long as they're washed and clean. But I always like to err on the side of caution. And I have all the bottle caps that go along with those guys. And I do have a stainless steel spoon. It's just a slotted spoon because that's all I have. I don't know why. Those are the only things I kept with me to the side. My husband drank that kombucha I made with the strawberries that I had made from the very starter kombucha when I built my SCOBY, and that's in the other video you'll watch hopefully before this one. Let's go with this one first because I want to squeeze these berries. I was thinking I should have macerated them or at least squished them up. Not macerate. Well, you can macerate them too because then you add sugar when you put them in here. Sugar's good, eats it up. But look how bubbly this one is compared to this guy. So we're gonna start off with our ginger Jun, and I'm gonna have you close up a little bit, and then we're gonna have to reset this because I don't want to just put you guys down like. But look at that. And they said ginger is very, what's that word? It makes it react a lot, which I didn't know, because, I mean, I guess ginger has a lot of sweetness, but it's pretty cool. I know in the blueberry one, or the blackberry one, I see all kinds of bubbles coming up. And then, this is 24 hours later. I don't know if I showed it to you guys. I don't think I did. So, this has been sitting for 24 hours, Miranda Lou. And it's already making a little thin film at the top. The SCOBY was laying around the bottom and she came right up, and it's sitting in the back over here. So I know part of this video series to show you kind of what happens, but it's hard to see in there. Anyway, she's sitting up there and all kinds of strings are hanging off. And there's already all kinds of spent yeast down at the bottom. So this is 24 hours later, right? Because I decided last night to go ahead and move on. So I'm going to reset the camera and we'll start straining the flavored Jun into our bottles. Okay guys, so we'll just start off with one of the clean bottles. I'm going to put it in this one because I'm going to try to see if I can get some color out of those blackberries in the other one so we can see it. So just funnel. I wish this funnel was bigger. I didn't really even open the box till today, and I was like, oh well. And then I have a little sieve or whatever you want to call it. Now, a strainer. It didn't say stainless steel when I bought it, and that kind of bums me out. Everything else did, so I don't know, but whatever. I'm going to use it. And you know, when my kitchen's back in order, I'll go and buy a better one. But go ahead and, again, your arm. Okay, I guess you're okay. So I'm gonna open this guy up, and super bubbly. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little mix because we want all that stuff to come up. And I guess as the lower I get in this thing, the least I'm gonna have to strain, right? Because it's probably going to come out mostly right now. Oh, this scares me. Okay, I'm already doing this wrong. I have to get it pretty much right down in there because it has to go right in the middle of this thing. Oh, and then it has to funnel through. Okay, guys, so that's all I'm going to do is pour it right in here until there's very little headspace, because people are on different things about this. Like, they say, oh, you should leave some room. Some people say don't leave much room. I don't know. You can kind of pick it up like that, Dad, every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, leave it, right? Okay. And it kind of relieves the pressure. Ooh, it's almost getting there. Okay, just a little more. This is such a mess. A little bit more. Okay. Can you pick that up? And then we'll bring it over here. Okay, guys, you see there's a little bit of space on top, but it's all fizzy and good looking. And this one had a black cap, so I'm going to take a cap and put that back on there nice and tight. Some people say if you wear gloves with like nitrile stuff on them or that sticky kind of stuff, or just use a little aid that helps you open bottles, those little plastic thing, I don't know what they call those rubbery things. Anyway, like grippers. But I think hand tightening is good enough, as tight as you can get, okay? So I'm going to fill up these guys and I'll come back to do the blackberry. Okay, so this one got about half a bottle of the ginger Jun. And I kind of knew that was going to happen because of, obviously I have 14 cups split between two, and each one of these takes about 2 cups. So what I wanted to do with this one, though, is what I was saying. Ooh, that one smells crazy. That one has a lot of ferment smell. If I can get some of these berries up and out of here, I want to get them into the strainer. And I wanted to squeeze them. Does that work? Nope. Oh yeah, it is letting go of some color, huh? So I'm going to try to squeeze as much as I can on top of here before I move on to straining them into the cups. I'll be right back. Okay guys, let's see how much prettier it is now. It's like purple. And I should have done that at the beginning. Like I said, I was just I just threw some stuff together, so I wasn't really planning this. Also, if you are going to mash them up before you put them in there on the second fermentation, what was I going to say about that? I don't even remember what I was going to say. It's okay. Just smash them up. Okay, this one is really messy, so hold the line, Dad. So like I said, I have half ginger in here. I'm going to put another amount of this beautiful raspberry one in there. And now we have ginger. Oh, I keep saying raspberry. It's blackberries. Okay. That should be good. And oh, it's so pretty. So you guys know I only did this because I didn't have these washed yesterday. You don't have to put them in half-gallon jars, sit them out, and then put them in small bottles. You can go right from your first fermentation into bottling them. Oopsie, this is gonna be messy. The only reason I did it this way is because I was only gonna do the 2 flavors. I don't have a lot of bottles. They weren't washed yesterday. When I changed my mind, I decided to bottle it. So I went ahead and just did the easiest thing. And then today I'm bottling it. I'm still gonna leave them on the counter for another day or 2 or 3 until they get as fizzy as we want. So you can definitely just go again from the big, for your fermentation to the next one. Oh, sorry. And then, oh man, where are we out of bottles? I might have to wash one more bottle to get this going. Look at the ferment on this one though. And now this released even more sugar because I smashed them up. And so this is going to get pretty fizzy. It's going to be awesome. You know what? Let's dump those berries. Can you shake them off in here? And again, I'm going to leave them on the counter, and I'm going to keep following up with you guys as far as this progression so you kind of see how that looks. And then, Dorian, just go, He came with his video and he's like, oh no, but he still stood there with the video just all loud. Anyway, so I'll show you how these bottles are progressing, and I'll also show you obviously how our Jun is progressing, and then we're just going to start the thing all over. When I think it's fermented enough, we're going to take some out. Oopsie, I wasn't paying attention, so I let that completely...
Still got room.
Yeah, I still have some up here, but okay, it does have some room. Just put it on here, I guess, or it was going to fall in. Okay, so I'm going to bottle these up and just let them sit here just like these guys are sitting. I put a little towel over them. And like I said, tomorrow I'll check in with our main fermentation one, actually the second round of first fermentation here at my house. And then we'll check in with these guys. But these guys, I'm not going to bother them for a couple days, but I'll show you what they look like. Okay? Hey guys, I'm sorry if this looks a little bit crooked. I don't know what's going on with my tripod. I cannot get it straight. It would be nice if it were like this, but it's not working. So anyway, we're going to finish up our Jun tea, and this is going to be it, guys. We're going to sample it, and then the bottles that we just made. Well, we're going to sample one of the bottles. Before it gets too crazy in here, because my son wants to drink it, my husband, everyone wants to try it out. So, again, I'm going to show you the bottles here, and I just set them here. I just covered them with a towel. You don't have to do any of that, but also if one were to explode, you have a little towel, at least something on there to kind of help it, but we're not running that risk right now. I did not burp these. You guys know we went straight from our vessel into the half-gallon jars, and then I flavored those, right? I flavored 2 half-gallons. They each had about 7 cups because I kept some in here for the starter for the next batch of Jun tea that we made, which is here. So I left those for a day, and for me, my day happens to be overnight because I'm just like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So, you know, if you worked early in the morning, you kind of want to give it a whole 24 hours, right? And then after that, we bottled it in smaller bottles, only because that was out of convenience for me. But again, you can go right from here, when you go to do your second ferment, right into smaller bottles that you want to flavor them, however you want to flavor them. Just put your flavoring in there. Again, I did it a little bit differently this time. I'm going to start off with this bottle because I was only able to get half a bottle out of that. If you think about it, these bottles all hold 16.9 ounces. So almost 17 ounces. So 16 ounces is 2 cups. I should have had enough to fill up 7, but I have 6.5, right? Because after you're putting in 0.9, it's eating into that last cup of yours. So there's that. What I do want to show you is tell my husband, I'm like, oh, I've been watching him all day because I'll bring it closer to you. I don't really want to bother these, but you see the bubbles? Hopefully you can see the bubbles. So this is our Jun tea, guys. Green tea with honey. There's bubbles in all these, guys. I can see them. This is the half blackberry, half ginger. These are just blackberry. Now, this is the half bottle one. And what I want you to see, and I don't know if you can tell, maybe you can see on the ones in the back there. This one's not the best example. I'm just holding them carefully because I don't want to bother them too much. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit rounded. I can feel that there's pressure building up in there. And I was telling my husband, look how flat these are. And it may be hard to see. Oh gosh, I don't know how. Let me try to do this again. So it's focusing here. Maybe. Can you see that? I know it's hard there. Maybe that's the better angle. There's a little roundness to this, and this is flat. So there's definitely some bubbles building up in there. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. After we taste this, that's basically the cycle of Jun. We start our next one. I'm going to give it 4 days this time just to get a little more acidic and see what happens. But I do want to show you the SCOBY that's building up here. So I'm going to put this to the side now. I'm going to get a cup with what's this called? Ice in it. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. A cup with ice. I have my strainer just in case because it is building up. I was like, is this another SCOBY? What's going on here? Because it has the blackberry bits, but it also has kind of a lot going on in there. So I'm going to go ahead and strain that out. You don't have to. You can just pour it into your cup. And I'm going to show you the last bit of what's going on in here for right now. So this is what, a 2-day pellicle? Because we literally took this stuff out and have bottled 2 nights now. Right, so 2 days. And look at that. It already built up a really nice SCOBY. It's going to start growing. It's still growing from the last SCOBY. I might come back and just to show you what the SCOBY looks like if I take it out after the second time we've used it, right? Just so you kind of have an idea what that might look like. But it's basically going to be that thick SCOBY that we started with that I bought. And then some other little things are going to be hanging from it, like this little thin SCOBY will be hanging on there. And maybe I'll go ahead and do that just so you have that idea. But I'm not going to bottle it again because it's the same procedure, right? And then we're going to leave 2 cups of starter fluid in here, starter liquid, which is basically the kombucha that's brewed, or the Jun that's brewed. And then we're going to add back, you know, all cup of honey, about 13 cups of water that we steeped our tea in, you know, our 6 to 8 bags of green tea, which I think we'll be doing 8 bags. So let me go get the cup and we will try these out. Okay guys, so I'm here. I got my kiddos here. Cup of ice. Let's open this up and see what happens. I don't know. Oh, this sounds good. I mean, it has a little carbonation. Again, this had a lot of headspace, so whatever carbonation you're building up, it had a lot of oxygen to kind of just deplete that too. So the other one should be a lot better. We're going to put this here. Oh, look, it's fizzing up, fizzing up, fizzing up. Miranda, my little daughter wanted to come in. I told her she needs to chill. She's doing butterfly hands back here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and strain it. there was, I was to say, there was a lot of yeast at the bottom of this one because it was basically at the bottom of the barrel of that cup when we were bottling it. Wow, nice and fizzy. Okay, I'm gonna taste it real quick. I'm gonna reserve judgment until Dorian tastes it. It's not as harsh as kombucha, babe. What do you think?
Good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I put a little bit of blackberry, maybe a little more blackberries next time. It is very light flavored, guys. I mean, it tastes a little bit like watered down kombucha, but it has, you know, the honey little taste there. It's still fermented. Nice carbonation, as you can see there. I mean, look at the little bubbles still building up on the side. That's pretty cool because this literally took 5 days. Here in California, apparently my liquid is running about 71 is what the temperature reading is saying there. Let me try this again. Yeah, it definitely has that kick in the back of the throat, you know? But very light, huh, Dorian? What do you think? Like, what would you say?
It's good. Like you said, well, not very light, but it's not as strong as the kombucha. And it is kind of, the kind of blackberry taste is very faint.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think next time I'll throw in some more blackberries, but it's there because it has that little feel of something tasting like blackberries in there. So thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, I might follow up with just showing you what the SCOBY would look like after having used it a couple times, just if you're curious. But I hope that, you know, shows you a little bit as far as how to brew that, not to fear it, and just try it out, you know? All right, thanks for watching. My husband's in here. Go ahead, you can grab it. All right, thanks for watching my little series. It did take a while to put together because, like, it took weeks, basically. But I hope that helped you guys to see every day the progression. Hi, guys. I know I just signed off on the Jun and we're done with it, but I did tell you I was going to keep showing you a little more. So this is not quite 3 days, because that would be later tonight. But I just want to show you how thick and white that SCOBY is, the new SCOBY, which is really cool. So remember the first time we used it, brand new, I put the new SCOBY in there that I purchased, or pellicle, and it made a really thin kind of coating. So when I went to add more liquid, because it was only 3 days, and this is like 2.5 days, it was just very thin, and I'm assuming it was attached to the mother SCOBY, or the first one, because I didn't take it out or anything. I just added more liquid. So tomorrow we're gonna give it one more day, even though it looks like she's ready. She's very bubbly, and I can see underneath here all these bubbles, and it's much thicker than the last time. My husband wants to give it one more day just to get it a little more tart. So I'm gonna bottle all this tomorrow, which means I'm gonna bottle my kombucha tomorrow too, because it's gonna be ready. It's actually ready today, I think, but we're gonna give both of them one more day. So I just want to show you how thick it is, and pretty awesome. And the mother, she's still under there. So like I said, what happens to SCOBY, it gets created because the first thing that this stuff wants to do, you know, the little live cultures and everything in there, is seal itself off so that the water doesn't evaporate, nothing else gets in and bothers it. So that's kind of how the new SCOBY forms. So every time, you're always going to get a SCOBY, and it could be really thin, it could be a little thicker, you know, it depends on how long or how active this stuff is. So like I said, this time it's a lot thicker. I'm going to take it out and show it to you tomorrow, and that's it. I'm not going to show you, you know, the whole process of starting it up again, because it's basically the same as we just went over, like I said earlier. But I do want to show you how they look different all the time. Okay, guys, like I promised, I'll show you the Jun SCOBY. This is going on 4 days, and it smells totally different than from the one I did before with 3 days. And I think I almost like 3 days better just because of the smell. It smells not just fermented, but kind of crazy. Like, I don't know. But I'll show it to you guys. This is my kombucha that I just did this morning. It's sitting here ready to do its second ferment. And I have my tea ready for the next batch of Jun. So I'm going to start bottling this and things. And I already have some ginger cut up, some apple cut up, things like that. But let's open this up. Sorry. So let's uncover this guy, and he is looking crazy. So it kind of moved down, as you can see, under the water, and it started making another layer of SCOBY to like cover itself up right here. But this thing, you know, it looks scary, guys. I mean, that's just the nature of this stuff. But look at that. I'm gonna poke it around a little bit. So this is, I'll show you, that was the mother down there, and this is the new one that just got made right here. And he's got a little vinegar, and not vinegar, a little vinegar smell, but it has the these pieces of like spent yeast that are just hanging out here. So I'm gonna get rid of those, clean it up a little bit. But yeah, so I'm gonna start bottling this up. Yum, huh? I'll start bottling this up and then, you know, start the recipe all over again with our, you know, 13, 14 cups of sweet tea, a cup of honey. Well, the sweet tea already has the honey in it. And then I'll leave like 2 cups of starter in here plus the SCOBY. I'm not going to take the SCOBY out. I am going to take it out to clean it up a little bit, but that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. And I hope, you know, like I said, that you learned something as far as how it goes. And I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.